progress.
LED KLN is a student organization at the University of California operating with the intention of grooming our undergraduates into professionals. So at LED, we provide our members with the skills and the competencies that they need to have when entering into the corporate world. Business School 2022 is another initiative of LED KLN this year, which is specifically designed for the undergraduates to mold their careers with the inputs from the corporate world. This is an open invitation for you guys. Stay tuned with LED and join with us. You will get the best experience in your life regarding career guidance. And stay safe.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, a perfect evening to everyone who is here with us today. Here, in this lovely evening, we are about to experience a valuable session organized by LED KLN Business School 2022. I'm Sahan, the moderator for today. First, let us have a brief idea about LED and the Business School. LED KLN is a student-run body that operates with the concept of leadership, empowerment, and development. The main motive of LED is to open more and more paths for undergraduates to reduce the gap between the corporate world and them. Business School consists mainly 3 phases. So we have already completed the first phase, which consisted of a series of sessions called Know Your Way on IT, management, and entrepreneurship. So we are now experiencing the second phase, present the best in you. Here we focus on CV and e-portfolios, career growth, and how to face an interview. As a final stage of business school, in phase 3, we have allocated a day for you to face interviews in front of well-known personalities from the corporate world. So here we are going to experience the last session of phase 2 of business school, how to face an interview. Before moving further to commence the event officially, I would like to invite Chamatka to welcome our guest speaker and the enthusiastic participants here today. Chamatka, over to you.
Thank you, Sahan. Hello, everyone. A very warm good evening to all who are here with us today. It's a moment of great privilege and honor for me to extend my hearty welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Mas Savangan, Global Manager, Training and Development at Attune, who has come to share his knowledge and vast experience with us today. Welcome to the session, sir. Then I would like to welcome our beloved executive board members of LED KLN on behalf of the organizing committee of Business School 2022. Finally, I would like to welcome all the enthusiastic participants who are here with us today to experience this amazing session. So now we are at the junction where a chapter closes and a new one begins. Hope you would all get the maximum out of this session as well. So now let's move straight towards the informative session. Thank you very much, and over to you, Sahat.
Okay, thank you, Chamanka. So, without wasting any time, let us begin the session. At the same time, we kindly request you to mute yourself so that the session won't be interrupted. We have allocated the time for a Q&A session at the end so that you can ask any question you have. So, sir, shall we start the session?
Sure. So a very warm welcome to everyone who's here today. I'm really humbled and privileged to be invited to be speaking with all of y'all. It's quite an honor. And over the next, say, 90 minutes, I hope to share some knowledge which might be very useful for every one of you. I know many of you all are very excited. We'll be entering the corporate sector very soon. And I know personally, when I was at that juncture, I was very anxious, getting your CV right, getting that interview done properly. And what I'm going to do today is share some of that insight based on my experience so that maybe you can take away a couple of points. And I do guarantee at the end of this, if you do walk away with a couple of points, you will definitely be able to transform your life and get the career of your dreams. I guarantee that, right? So that's a promise I have for all of y'all. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen. So I'm just going to call this session Getting the Job of Your Dreams, because I think everyone here wants to, get the job of their dreams. And we all define success in different ways. But I think, in whichever way we define it, we want to be where we are planned for ourselves. So this is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So let me just quickly introduce myself. I think Shamaka has already done that, but I've been an HR professional for a number of years, about 20 years to be precise. I've actually changed my designation. I didn't tell Shamaka this when I gave my introduction. From yesterday, I am now the head of global training and development for an American company called Rising. So this company owns Attune. So I am the global head for the training function. I didn't want to change the flyer because it happened only yesterday. I'm also a trainer and a lecturer. So I teach an MBA class at 2 institutes in Sri Lanka. I also do a lot of corporate trainings, and I help a lot of companies and individuals become the best versions of themselves. I've done a lot of sports during my time as well. I represented the Arabian Gulf in rugby. I played a number of different sports. Currently, I'm doing a lot of long distance running. Last April, I did 5 half marathons in 5 days and in 5 consecutive days. So that's something I'm quite proud of myself. And I also do a lot of life coaching also, helping people become the best versions of themselves, right? So that's a quick gist and summary of who I am. And I would like to ask you all right now, I know that all of you all have access to the chat box. You can just type a Y or a yes in the chat box. Would you like to get the job of your dreams? Yeah, just type that in the chat box, guys. Okay, yes, I'm hearing the yeses come in. Yeah, super, right, awesome. So all of y'all want to get a job of your dreams, okay? That's a given. How many of y'all would like to have a killer profile, right? Have a very strong brand. Yeah, type yes again if you want to have a really good profile. Just a Y or yes, I'm seeing the yeses come in as well again. Cool, guys. And like I said in the beginning, I promise you at the end of this session, if you walk away with some of the points, I guarantee you'll be able to transform your life, right? And why this session is so important for me is, right, before I started my professional career, I was a very average student, right? I wasn't getting the best grades. I didn't do a lot of sports before. I was an introvert, right? Not even an omnivert. I couldn't speak to people. I couldn't make a presentation in front of people. Whenever people were in front of me, I was very intimidated, right? If you look back a couple of years ago, I had, not read a book in my whole life, right? Till I was about 35, 36, I had not read a single book in my whole life. And I was a very different person. But, when it comes to success, there is a small science to achievement. If you follow certain steps, irrespective of what your past has been, you can become very successful and lead a very transformational life. And that is what I want to share with you. So at any point, if you ever think during the session, listen, I'm not there yet, I don't have it, I still am lacking in so many areas, well, don't believe that. You can achieve anything that you want to if you put in the hard work and the effort. And for me, my life has been a testament to that, because I was a very average or below average person until a couple of years ago. Not to say that I've got where I want to be, but I feel I've been progressing in the right direction. And I'm sure all of y'all here can have that same story and even better that story as well, right? So if you ever think that, you're not good enough, well, you can be good enough, and you can exceed all the expectations you've set for yourself, right? So this is what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about how to create your personal brand and how to get through your interview. And these are very important topics that I wanted to share with you. Why I'm not going to go directly into the interview is because first and foremost, you need to understand what your personal brand is. Because if you don't understand your personal brand, it might be very difficult to shape yourself for that interview, right? So I'm going to touch upon that first and foremost. So yeah, getting the career of your dreams. I would like to ask you a question right now, right? And all of y'all can see these three different logos here. We have Mercedes-Benz, we have Toyota, we have Tesla. Now, when you look at these logos, right? Mercedes-Benz. Now think about attributes. What do you think about Mercedes-Benz? What are the attributes that come into your mind? Just put it on the chat box, guys. What comes into your mind when you see the Mercedes-Benz logo? Let me just give you a hint, right? You could say luxury, for example. That's an attribute. Just type what comes into your mind when you think about Mercedes-Benz. Luxury, interior designs. Yeah, great one. Thank you, Sahan. What else, guys? What comes into your mind? Social status. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, it's, upper class social status. Yes, Mercedes. What else? Any other points of view? Comfortable. Yeah, it's comfort. I mean, it's top of the range in comfort for sure, right? It's a dream car. Thanks, Pavitra. Yeah, it's a dream car, right? It is something that we all aspire to get. It's very expensive for sure, guys. Yes. Okay, cool. Quality. Yeah, it's like top of the range, guys. Yes. Thank you, Vera. Okay. So the next question is, when you look at a Toyota logo, what comes into your mind? What comes into your mind when you see the Toyota logo? Think about it for a second. Daily use, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Sahan. What else? Affordable, yeah. Economy, yes. Malshi, economy, yeah. Affordable, reliability, yeah. That's efficiency, yes. Great, guys. So I'm seeing a very common theme even when it comes to Toyota. Affordable, reliable, it's used for daily, use. It's very abundant. A lot of people have it. It's very common. Yes. Great. Thank you guys for sharing that. Now, finally, when you see the Tesla logo, what comes into your mind? Tesla, Elon Musk and Tesla. What comes into your mind? Okay, Elon, yes. What is Elon all about? High technology, right? Very sophisticated, innovative, great. Yeah, what else? Innovative, yeah, innovation. Yeah, I mean, you got the nail on the head, right? Innovation, yeah. Okay, good guys, right? Future transformation, sound of a nose hair trimmer. Yeah, that's how loud the engine is, I guess, right? Yeah. So yes, great. So now you have, you all have identified the attributes for these three different brands, right? Now, this didn't happen overnight. It didn't like flip a switch and then you decided Mercedes is going to be luxury, or Toyota is going to be affordable, or Tesla is going to be innovative. They position themselves in a way that if anyone sees the brands, you know exactly what it stands for. And they did it purposefully, right? They positioned themselves purposefully, so you know exactly what the brand stands for. Now, I would like to invite you all to think about something, right? Now, each and every one of us here in this call, right? We have a choice. We can either deliberately or purposefully build our brand, or we can just do what we're doing right now, and people will develop a brand based on what they think about you. And once they create a brand, you can't shake it off very easily. It's there to stay. It takes a very long time to change your legacy or your brand. Now, all of us have a personal brand. From the moment you walk into the university, people looked at you, they formed an impression about you, and they said, this person is like that. And whether you like it or not, you can't change that perception. If a number of people think of you in that way, it takes a very long time for people to change their point of view or their opinion. Now, this could be a bad thing or a good thing. If people think that you're studious and smart and you fake it till you make it, great. You created a really good brand. But it'll be very difficult to sustain because it's not who you are. Now, my proposition is you can either leave it to chance or you can purposefully build your brand so that people see exactly what you want them to see. Now, many people here will think, okay, I am very honest, I'm hardworking, I'm innovative, I'm a good problem solver, I'm a team player, and that's really great. But is everyone around you seeing you in that light? Are they seeing you as what you're stating you are? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And that is exactly why we need to purposefully create our brand. Because if we don't, others will create a brand on what they see, and you can't change it. And many people say, I don't care what other people think about me. I know who I am. Well, that's okay, right? That's okay. But you have to remember, right? Okay, let me ask you a question, and you can put this in the chat box. Why do you think the human species has been so successful for so many years? From 2 million years, why has the human species become so successful? Just put it on the chat box, guys. Why do you think the human civilization or species has been so successful for so many years, million years? Because of thinking ability. Thanks, Sahan. Yes, that is one of the reasons. Because they can think. Yeah. Okay. Thinking ability. Okay, so everyone's talking about thinking ability, and I think that is absolutely correct. And one of the big reasons why humans are successful. But more than that, guys, right? Why we are different from so many other species is because we are a social species. We are able to collaborate with 7 billion people. Now, monkeys can collaborate. Whales, dolphins, they can collaborate, but not with 7 billion people, right? We have formed our own languages. We have formed our own currency. Money is not worth anything, but we have formed a value of money, right? And we are able to collaborate with 7 billion people, and that is why we stand on top of that, on top of the triangle right now, because we are a social species. So let me go back to the previous point. We might think it doesn't matter what people think about us, but you have to remember, how do we get jobs? How do we get opportunities? How do we, get new work deals? We get that because people recommend us. They talk about us. They tell people, I trust this person. Take them into your company. That is because people are social. They talk about you. They refer you. And that is why a personal brand is so important. So the next question I have for all of you all is, right? How do people form a personal brand or an impression about you? Can anyone mention in the chat box? How do they form an impression about you? Can anyone tell me? How do people form an impression about you? Okay, so I'm guessing you're still typing. So let me share some insight, right, as to how people form an impression about you. Couple of things. One is the way we behave. Yes, exactly. Yes, Sahan. And let me just elaborate on that point, right? Activities. What do you do, right? If people see you playing sports, or they see you at the library a lot, or if they see you, always fooling around and playing around, that's how they will identify you, by the stuff that you do. So you might not be like that, but people will identify you by the things that you do, right? That's the first point. The second point is people identify you, or they create a brand by the friends that you keep. They often say you are the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. Let me repeat that. You are the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. So very often we tend to hang around with people we are comfortable with, right? Who are like us. So when people look at you or look at your friends, they will form some sort of impression about you. They will say you are like that because your friends are like that. Now, they often say, if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. If you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Why? Because you need to find people who challenge you, who get the best out of you, who think different from you, right? But very often we don't do this. We become victims of this thing called groupthink. Can anyone tell me why Facebook, when it started, became so successful? Can anyone tell me? When Facebook started, why did it become so successful? Okay, so one of the reasons, and there are a number of reasons, right, why Facebook became successful. One of the big reasons is because you could create your own social circles. So you friended people who were like you, people that you knew, who you trusted. Those were your close friends. And when you put a post, everyone liked it. Everyone put a heart sign. Everyone said, great, I love it. But when somebody challenged your post, what happens? Very often you tend to unfriend them because they're thinking differently. What that does is we become victims of this thing called groupthink, where we think the whole world thinks like us, when in reality, it's only a social group who are like us who thinks like that. So guys, be very conscious of the people or the friends that you keep. Now, as we progress or transform ourselves on our journey, right? Sometimes people will try to hold you back. Why? Not because they're bad people, but because they want to make sure that you stay friends with them. But when you start on your journey and you start progressing, sometimes you will have to sacrifice certain friends who are not on that same journey as well. Now, when I started, for example, running, right? Now, before I started running, I used to spend every weekday at the club, having a drink or meeting my friends, etc. But now when I started running, I knew I had to sacrifice some of these other activities, right? And a lot of my old friends said, listen, why aren't you coming for a drink anymore? Why aren't we meeting at the club? I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. I have to play some sports. And they're like, you're not the same as you were before. You've changed. You're different. Well, maybe I am. Maybe that's my transformation making. And along the way, you might lose friends as well. But that's not a bad thing, right? Because you are on your own journey, guys. So be very conscious of the friends that you keep, guys. Okay, that's the second point, guys. And I know that this session is about interviews, but I wanted to touch upon these points because you need to understand what your brand is. So the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to go into the interview straight after this, right? So the second point, the third point, and it's a very important point, is your digital footprint. A lot of employers today look at your digital footprint. What do you post on Facebook? What do you post on LinkedIn? What do you post on Instagram? And they are creating an impression about you. And whether you like it or not, that is what they will think about you. So whatever you post and make it public on social media, know that people are looking at you. They're forming an impression about you. And a lot of companies now as well, they do a background verification on your social media or your digital footprint to see what you are posting. If you are trying to apply for an American visa, they will do a social media check on you. So make sure with whatever brand that you're trying to create for yourself, make it purposeful even on social media, because people are watching you, they're judging you, and they're forming an impression about you. And once they create that impression, you can't shake it off. It's very difficult. So if you think, okay, I want to be known as a sports person, then maybe many of your posts will be on sports. If you want to be known as an intellect, like you like to think outside the box, then maybe many of your posts have to be in that area. Understand that after an interview, a lot of employers are going into your social media, and anything that you've made public, they are forming an impression about you. Why? They want to see exactly if you are consistent with what you've said at that interview or what you have stated on your CV. So be very conscious of that. Now, if you're thinking, no, it's my business, it's my private life, I don't care, right? Well, then make it private, have your restrictions, make it a closed group. But if you're making anything public, you have to understand people are looking at you and they're forming an impression about you. And there are 7 billion people who can look at your profile and they can think this person is like this. So be very conscious of that. The fourth point is people are forming impression about you to see whether you are someone with a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. So a person with a fixed mindset thinks they know it all. They think I've graduated in my degree and I know everything that I used to know. But someone in a growth mindset never thinks like that. They never think they know everything. In life, if you are not growing, you are dying. If you are not growing, you are dying. And someone with a growth mindset always is learning something new, not only your university studies, but learning something new, always constantly trying to better themselves. That is having a growth mindset. So companies are looking at that as well to see whether you have a growth mindset or whether you have a fixed mindset. So they form an impression like that as well. Next is the physiology, how you look, your appearance. There are certain things when you walk into the door, even at an interview, they're looking at you and they're thinking, this person is like this. Now, when I went for interviews those days, right? If someone had long hair, we thought this person likes heavy metal or rock music. If someone wore baggy trousers, we thought they like hip hop music or rap music. So we formed impressions based on that. Now, if someone's wearing today a Fitbit, right, or a sports watch, we know that they like sports or running, right? So physiology also affects people, how they form an impression about you, right? Now today, right, in this group here today, if I told you all, please turn on your cameras of people who work out 5 days a week or 6 days a week. When you're turning on your cameras, there's a certain physiology that I will expect or I will see. Because if you work out 5 days a week, you will look in a certain way, right? So physiology or appearance also is a way that people form an impression about you. And finally, communication. How do you communicate? Are you someone that shouts at everybody? Are you somebody who is nice, who always listens to somebody? The way you communicate is also how people form an impression about you. So what I want to share with you all with this slide, and I'm going to end the personal branding on this note. Be very conscious of your personal brand. Be very conscious of what people are thinking about you, or what impression they're forming about you. Because if you don't do this purposefully, they will form a brand and you can't shake it off, guys. If they think you're lazy and you procrastinate and you are, you're not, and you will not give 100%, well, that's what they'll think about you. And when you start working, it's very difficult to get things done because people will have a very unfavorable impression about you. So you need to keep this in mind, guys, right? Are we clear so far? Can I have a virtual show of hands? Okay, cool, guys. So I'm going to keep moving on. Okay, so I'm just going to skip this slide for now. Okay, so a couple of things that you need to know, right? So once you form your personal brand, you need to know first and foremost, how am I different from the rest of the group, right? How am I different from the rest of the group? Now, the expectation, right? When you graduate and when you're looking for jobs, you have to be equal or better than your counterpart anywhere else in the world. So if you are a software engineer or a marketing management trainee, any job that you undertake, you have the expectation is you have to be equal or better than your counterpart anywhere else in the world. Because right now we live in a global village, right? So you need to understand first, who am I? And why am I different from everybody else? And that is true, right? We are different. We are no two people are the same. And you need to find what is so different about you. What is your unique selling proposition? And if you don't know what that is, guys, you need to find it out really fast. Because if you don't know that, when you're asked at an interview, how are you ever going to answer that? Why should I pick you amongst everyone else here in the room? And if you don't have an answer without putting the other people down, if you do not know what your strength is, what is your unique selling proposition, then it's going to be a very difficult task, guys. So that is the self-awareness you need to have. What do I bring to the table? Why am I so special, right? So you need to understand why employers should hire you. Think of yourself as a product or a service, right? Now, you see so many products being launched every single day, but I don't think a lot of these companies answer that question. Why should you select me, my product, over all the other products that are available right now, right? So remember, know yourself, right? And the next thing is, you need to understand what your network thinks of you as well. Because they often say, Your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. People hire you based on recommendations. They hire you based on, somebody recommending you. So make sure even today, guys, start building on your network. Now, what is your network? It doesn't just mean adding someone on LinkedIn. That's not good enough. I've seen so many students adding someone on LinkedIn today, and tomorrow they're saying, can I send my CV to you for a job? It has to be organic. You have to develop a relationship over a period of time. Suppose you add someone on LinkedIn today. Tomorrow you like their post. Day after you communicate with them. In 1 year, you ask them, can you be my referee or my reference, or can I send you my CV? That's how you make it organic, right? And you need to build your network, guys. That's so important. Because what happens is when companies call students for interviews, they already know exactly who they want to take. Why? Because those really good students have built a network around them. For example, if you want to join, say, Virtusa or Attune or WSO2, even today as a student, you should be building your network even today by knowing who are the HR people working at those companies, who are the operational people. Start building your relationships with them. So when there's an opportunity or when you graduate, you can just say, hi, I noticed that your company is advertising for software engineers or marketing executives. Do you think I could send you my CV? And because you know them for a long time, they actually know the relationship matters. And they will at least send your CV into HR and at least get you called in for that interview. Because what happens is when companies advertise for positions, sometimes 1,000 people send their CVs in. And how do you get your CV to be called for an interview? That is where you leverage on your network, guys. So remember, when you are planning to get a job, yes, you need to have the technical ability, you need to have the skill, you need to have the communication skills, yes, but you also need to have the network. And how do you get the network? You start going for certain events, join a Toastmasters club, Gavel club. There are so many professional networks. Connect with them on online when they have their meetings, Rotary, Rotaract. That is where you create a network. So whenever there's a job or whenever there's a vacancy, they know, I know this person. This person I know is good. So maybe I will call this person for an interview. So always think about this, guys. Like I said, success isn't rocket science, but so many people forget to follow the basic steps that you need in order to get the job of your dreams. Right? So this is what I wanted to share with you. Next, I'm going to go into the interview. Are we clear so far, guys? Yeah, can I get a virtual show of hands or a thumbs up? Okay, guys, so I'm going to keep going on. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about facing your interview, right? So the next 1 hour, I'm going to talk about this. So I would like to ask you a question, guys. What is the scariest thing about interviews? First question, what is the scariest thing about interviews? Just type that in the chat box. I'm just going to give you like 30 seconds to type this out. And after that, type 3 things that will make you more confident. Just take like a minute to think about this, right? It gives me a chance to get some water as well. So just take a minute and please just type this out in the chat box. Cool, guys. So just type out whatever you think in the chat box. What's the scariest thing that you face when you go for an interview or think about an interview? Sitting in front of and looking at them. Thanks, Sahan. Yes, that's scary. It's very intimidating sometimes, especially if it's a panel interview. That's so scary. What else, guys? Okay, who can I see? Netmini, what's the scariest thing? Chamatka, scariest thing? To face
I
people
just
who are, okay. To face people who are way more qualified in the field. Okay, that's a fair point. Am I good enough for the job? Okay, that's very similar. Thanks, Nadun. Answering difficult questions, right? Okay, cool. Right, I think, okay, that's some really good points. And I think I'm going to answer your second question as well. Now, if you have the technical ability, maybe that will help you be more confident. If you understand the job better, maybe you're more confident. Yes, I mean, that will really help you becoming more confident when you go in for an interview. But again, let me just go back to the same point I started with. There is a science to achievement, right? There are certain steps that you need to follow. And if you follow those steps, you will have a very successful interview. And it's not rocket science, right? So the next couple of slides, I'm going to share with you what you need to do in order to get through your interview, right? Some of this you may have already, some of this might be new, some of this you might not be comfortable with. But if you follow these steps, you will be able to face your interview. And it's very similar like to making money. If you want to make money and become rich, there is a science to achievement. If you follow certain steps, you will become rich. But not many people follow those steps because it's difficult. It's very difficult, right? Not everybody wants to grind every single day to make that money, right? But if you follow the steps, you will become rich. Similar to that, facing your interview and getting through your interview. And if you're confident, there's no problem. You will get that job. But everyone needs to put in that effort, right, in order to get that job. So it's like this, right? Let me just share this with you. Right. So I'm going to share a video of a bad interview, but I'll share that at the end, not right now, right? I'm just going to share with you some hard facts right now. Remember, guys, when you go in for an interview, right, that's really great because someone has looked at your CV and they've thought, okay, maybe you have the capabilities and the experience and the skill for this job. Thumbs up, really great. But remember, the next 15 minutes that you spend with your interviewer, on average 15 minutes, that will determine your future career. And sometimes you only have one shot. Now imagine you wanted to work for Google, right? One of the best companies to work for in the world. You only have one shot, 15 minutes. And if you mess that up, you don't get that job. And in life, sometimes you only have one chance. But you have to prepare yourself. Sometimes you prepare your whole life for that one shot, right? You're preparing your whole life for that one shot, where you sit in front of that, the recruiter, the company of your dreams, and you have to take that chance. Now, a lot of people don't prepare enough for this interview, right? I see students preparing for their exams, for their projects, assignments, coursework, dissertations. They practice a lot, but I don't see them practicing enough for their interview, unfortunately. And this is the 15 minutes that will get you the job of your dreams, your career of your dreams. But not many people do that. So first and foremost, remember, these 15 minutes are one of the most important 15 minutes of your career, right? Remember that. Also remember, guys, the best doesn't always get selected. It doesn't work like that. Winning, right? Winning has no loyalty to you. To get selected, sometimes someone not so good may get selected. And you need to understand that. But you don't get demotivated by that. Now, you might be the smartest person in the room. You might be have the best grades in the room. But if you are not able to sell yourself like a product or a service, if you're not able to sell what you've done to the interviewer, then it doesn't matter what grades you have, even if you got distinctions or A stars, it doesn't matter. The best doesn't always get selected. You can be average, a little below, above average, that's fine. But you need to be able to sell yourself at that interview so that that person on the other side of the table thinks this person is great. I really want this person in my company. I see students concentrating so much on their grades, trying to get at A stars, and at the expense of sacrificing everything else in their life. Well, grades are great, but it's not the only thing. You need to have interpersonal skills. You need to be able to be confident. You need to understand other things as well apart from your studies, because that is something where you can contribute more to an organization. So remember that, guys. The best doesn't always get selected. And like I said, you are like a product or a service. Think about it. And you always have to ask yourself, why should they pick me amongst everyone else here in the room? And if you can't answer that yourself, how do you expect them to believe you? Right? If you can't answer, why should they pick me above everyone else? Why should they believe you? You need to believe it first. And many people said, I'm not sure whether I'm qualified enough or confident enough. Well, if you are not confident, how will they see that you're confident? Confident. Believe in yourself, guys. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but you need to be confident with whatever you know. And if you don't know something, say you don't know. That's fine. But you need to be confident in what you know. And don't let anyone make you feel that you're worth any less. Very often we think this person knows no more than me, this person is more qualified than me, this person is a CEO. And my answer is, so what? Everyone has their own unique life journey. Everyone has gone through their own hardships. Nobody's more significant or nobody's more superior than anybody here in this room. Do I think that I'm better than any one of y'all? Absolutely not. Y'all have your own story, guys. Y'all have your own challenges that y'all have faced. And you need to be confident in your own story, guys. Right? Remember, you are a product or a service, and you need to be confident in what you're selling. Right? The next point is, only a small percentage of candidates are prepared. And I told you this before. Preparation is so important. And I'll explain exactly what this preparation is in the next slide. The last point is, people and companies hire you for attitude and less for skills. Why? Because they think, I can teach you skills. It's not difficult. I'll put you through a workshop or training program and I can upskill you in like 1 month. But I can't change your attitude. If you have a fixed mindset and you don't want to learn new things, if you have an attitude, think, I know everything here, there's nothing more for me to learn. If you are not willing to learn from your juniors, then it's difficult to change your attitude. Skills I can train, but attitude I can't. So remember that, guys. You need to go in with that attitude where you have to be prepared to unlearn and then relearn. Whatever you learned in your university or your experience, sometimes you have to unlearn everything. And you have to relearn something from the beginning. Now we think, why do I have to do that? I've learned this. I spent 4 years learning for this. Well, maybe sometimes you need to unlearn as well. And you need to have that attitude as well. Right? So these are some hard facts I wanted to share with you guys. Right? Now, preparation is the key to success. Like I said, there are certain things that you need to do in order for you to have success in your interview. The first point I wanted to share with you is, are you current in your field? Right? So you could be doing marketing, you could be doing management, you could be doing industrial engineering, textiles, whatever your field is, you need to be current in your field. And that means you need to know what's going on in your field, right? Now, suppose you're in fashion design. You need to know what the latest trends are in fashion. Because if you don't know, they will question, okay, you're doing a degree in fashion designing. You're claiming to be, this is going to be your career path, but you don't know anything about it, what's happening around you. This is where you need to go beyond your books. Yes, the books will teach you theory. The books will teach you so many things, but you need to go beyond that and learn what's happening around you with the industry, with what are the latest trends that are happening. That is your value addition. Because you know what? When you graduate, right? And when the university organizes a career day, every single student will have the same degree, right? Every single student will have the same degree. So what is so different about you? Well, one thing is, maybe you know more about your field that you're in. So that's the first point, guys. Know what's current in your field. Next is, how much do you know about the company that you're being interviewed by? Suppose you want to join Virtusa, for example. How much do you know about the company? Who are their directors? What is their main products? Who is their customers? How much do you know about that? And many students, 99% of the students I've interviewed, don't know a lot about the company. When I ask them, why do you want to join this company? No, because I've heard it's a really good company, really good culture. I think I can really have a future here. But they don't know a lot about the company. So that's a little bit of research and effort that you need to make in order to have the job of your dreams, which so many students do not do this, right? Like I said, there is a science to achievement. There is a science to this. If you follow these steps, you will get the job. But you know what? So many students don't follow this, right? Next is, do you know the culture of the company, right? What is the culture of the company? Do they have a very open culture? Like if you look at a lot of IT companies, they're very open. You can talk to the CEO, call them by their first name. Then you have government departments and maybe banks, for example, where you have to say Mr. and Sir and Madam. That is their culture. So understand their culture when you go in for an interview. Now, if you're going into a culture where, it's very open, everyone calls them by their first names, and you call the person Sir, they'll be like, maybe this person is very hierarchical. And maybe this person won't fit into my culture because I'm looking for someone that's more open-minded, right? So understand their culture. This you get through research as well, right? Understand what sort of culture that they have and what sort of people that they want to fit into their culture. So while we're on culture, what are the values they cherish as well? So every company has a value statement. Integrity, we're hardworking, we are team players. They will have certain values. Understand those values. All you have to do is speak to someone in the company, or maybe you want to go onto the website and you'll understand what the values that they cherish. And this is not rocket science, guys. This is there, but nobody does this, right? Next, understand what the career paths there are available for that company. What are the career paths? Now, they will say, okay, why do you want to join us? What sort of job do you want here? Now, what they will be really impressed by is if you have a very clear understanding of what career path that you would like at that company. Now, suppose, right, they don't have a career path for something that you want to achieve. Say, one day I want to become a technical architect. And they're like, well, we don't have a career path for technical architects. We stop at project management. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. But when you know what career path that they have at that company, that is where you can say, this is what I want to do. And I know your company can offer this because you have that same career path that I'm looking for. All this can be done with a little research, guys. But nobody does this, right? This is the next point. Can anybody vouch for you? We spoke about your network being your net worth. Are there people in the company who can give you a recommendation, who can speak on your behalf? This is where you have to start building your networks from today. Now, I know all of y'all probably in your mind, you'll have a company you want to join, right? You have a company like, I want to join this company and I want to have a career in this company. That's really great. Start getting to know people in the company right now. Once you start getting to know people, then these people will speak on your behalf. You can use these people as your references on your CV. And you will have a smaller chance of getting at least called in for that interview. At least, after the interview, the interview will go back to the company and say, I interviewed this person. They said they knew you. What do you think about this person? And if they know you well, they'll give you a very good recommendation. So these are very small things, guys. Some of y'all might think this doesn't make a big difference, but every small little detail makes a big difference. And I'll give you an example, right, from a different scenario. All of y'all have heard of Michael Phelps, the fastest swimmer in the world. Yeah, Michael Phelps. So Michael Phelps, right, the best swimmer in the world, he practiced every day of the week. And even on Sundays, he practiced for 1 hour every Sunday. But all the other Olympic swimmers took Sunday off. All the other Olympic swimmers took Sunday off. But when he practiced for 1 hour every Sunday morning, that gave him 52 hours extra every year. And many swimmers said that's a very small thing. But that 52 hours was a millisecond difference between gold and silver at the Olympics. A millisecond. So the small little things that you do, the little extra that you do, you think it's not significant. But when you add up all these little points, then you will see there is a massive change. And this is what you can even Google it, the law of marginal gains, where you don't have to make a massive change to your life. You make these small little adjustments to your life and you will see a big change. right? So that point, can anyone vouch for you? Next is, what are you going to wear for your interview? You need to understand that as well. Now, we spend so much of money when we have a university party or a get together, a Halloween party. We buy new clothes, or graduation, so we buy all these clothes. But do we really spend enough of time and attention for that interview? Getting that haircut, getting that hair done. And you might think this is not important. Well, getting selected or not, there might be a small difference between you and somebody else. And you want to make sure that you get selected and you don't leave any small point, you don't leave anything to chance. So, get that right attire for that job you want to get, right? If it's a company that's like IT and very liberal and they wear t-shirts, get a really nice t-shirt and wear it. Show that, you represent what the company stands for. If it's a very formal company, right, and they want someone, in a business suit or something, why not invest in that business suit? It might be expensive today, but once you get a job, you can pay it off, right? Invest in your attire as well, guys. The next point is, aim to come in early. If you're going for a physical interview, go in early. If it's a virtual interview, log in at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes early, because you never know what will happen, right? Maybe if it's a physical interview, your bus gets late, or there's traffic, or there's a breakdown or an accident, you never know. If it's a virtual interview, maybe there's connection problems, maybe there's a power cut. If you log in early, you can have some time to work around it, right? But if you come late, that will show the interviewer that maybe you're not so interested. Maybe it's not important enough for you to log in on time. So always think about logging in early, guys, or coming in early for an interview. Always plan for your contingencies. And the last point, and I spoke about this previously, know your value proposition. What do I bring to the table that nobody else brings? And I keep talking about this because you need to know this. If you do not know this, how will your employer know this? They won't. So know your value proposition, guys. So in order to prepare, this is what you need to do initially. Does that make sense so far, guys? Can I get a virtual show of hands? Cool, guys. So I'm going to keep moving on. Okay, so now we're going to go into the interview, right? What do you need to do at the interview? Now, the first point, right? Now, before a sports team starts playing, right? A big match, a cricket match or a football match or a rugby match. What do they do before they start playing? They warm up, right? Why do they warm up? Because they want to ensure that their energy is at peak state. At peak state. Now, when you see cricketers getting off their bus, they always have their big earphones, and they're listening to loud music. Why? Because they're trying to get into peak state, right? Having the right energy. Now, let me ask you a question. If somebody is motivated and inspired and, they're really energized, do they look up or down? Are their shoulders up or down? And are they looking up or down? Put it on the chat box, guys. If someone is inspired and energized, do they look up or down? Chat. Okay, yeah. If someone is inspired, Sahan, not demotivated, inspired. Okay, they look up, right? If someone is really motivated and inspired, they look up. So this is the thing, right, guys? If someone is demotivated normally and you're not confident, you look down. So my proposition for all of you all is, make sure when you go into that interview, you have the right energy. You have the right energy. Now, what you can do is, you can have the right energy in two ways. One is, be very confident in your preparation. Because when you are prepared, like going in for an exam, when you know all the answers, that is where you get the right energy, because you are confident. You're walking in with that confidence. Also, you can do something like a warm-up itself. Now, I know many trainers, before the actual training program happens, they do a little warm-up just to get the energy up to some level. Some people listen to music, because you know what? If you have low energy and you go in for an interview, the interviewer will see that. they will see that your energy is very low. And when they see that, they think you're not confident. And when you walk into that interview and your energy is low, it's very difficult for you to up that energy, because they think, this person is too soft spoken, this person is not confident. You're fighting an uphill battle. So you need to do a couple of things to get your energy up. First point, right? Second is, make sure you answer that question. Make sure you answer the question. Now, very often we tend to go in circles. We don't give them a proper answer. No, answer to the point. You only have 15 minutes. You don't have time to go around in circles. Be very precise and to the point, right? And whenever you answer a question, back it up with examples. You have to provide an example, guys. So why is this important? Well, this is important because now, for example, if someone asks you, what are your biggest strengths? Many candidates say, my biggest strengths are leadership, communication skills, I'm a good problem solver. They say all these things. But that means nothing, guys, unless you can back it up with real examples. So rather than saying, I have leadership skills, say, what are your greatest strengths? I have leadership skills because I was a prefect in school, or I led this team, in this championship. That shows you have leadership skills. If they ask you, what are your biggest strengths? Say, I'm a good problem solver because I worked on this project, which was very difficult, and I had to solve multiple problems. Always back up your points with the examples. Don't just use words, because words are just words if you can't back it up, right? Always use examples, guys. Next point, ensure that the interviewer knows you are ready to give before you get. Because a lot of students and a lot of people who go for interviews, they say, can I get a promotion in 2 years? Can I get these benefits? They always ask, can I get? But you need to make them believe you're willing to give, you're willing to commit to the job, you're willing to add value. You have to convince them that you are in to help them out before you can get. Because if it's all about you, they're like, we don't want it. We don't want you. We want someone who can contribute to our company, right? So remember, guys, make them believe that you're ready to give before you can get. Don't go demanding, I want A, B, and C. You need to make them believe you're willing to give before you get, right? That's important. Guys, just 1 second, just hold on for 1 second. I just need to turn on my charger. My battery is dying. Give me 1 second, yeah?
All right, sir.
Sorry, guys, right? Next point is, look at the interview in the eye. Eye contact is really important. Whether it's a virtual interview, if it's a virtual interview, guys, it's not negotiable. You have to turn your camera on. You have to turn your camera on. Because you know what? There's this thing called non-verbal communication, NVC, right? And non-verbal communication is stronger than normal communication. People need to see your body language. They need to see you. And that creates a human connection. And make sure if it's a physical interview, you're looking at the person in the eye when you speak to them. Look at them in the eye. That shows you're confident. If you're looking down, they know that you're not confident, and they know they have the upper hand on you, over you, right? So look at them in the eye whenever you're speaking. It shows that you're confident. Whenever you walk into an interview, shake hands, a firm handshake. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl, have a firm handshake. Don't just give your hand and, expect them to shake it. No, it doesn't work like that. Firm handshake, guys. It's really important, right? Now, certain people, because of certain cultural differences or religious things, they don't shake hands. That's fine, right? What the interviewer will do is they will reach the hand out, and then you can decide whether you want to give it or not. If you give it, make sure that it's a firm handshake, right? Remember. Next is, if you don't know something, if they ask you a question and it's technical and you don't know the answer, don't be afraid to say you don't know. I've seen a lot of students lie about this. They say, I think it's like this, I know this already, and they lie. Do not lie, because if they find out that you're lying about something and you say something you know, but you don't know it, that is going to be a massive black mark to you. You can just answer and say, I don't know this. I have heard of this concept. To be honest, I don't know about it, but I'm very keen or eager to learn about it. And that's being very honest, guys. That's being very honest. Never lie about something that you don't know, right? The next point is confidence is being able to back up your ability and experience, right? Now, how are you confident? How do you build confidence? You build confidence by backing up with whatever you're saying with these examples. And I spoke about this before as well. Don't use words that don't have any experiences to back it up. If someone says, I'm looking for someone who can come in and work by themselves, are you that type of person? Don't just say, yes, I'm that type of person. I can work by myself. Say, I am that person because previously I worked on a project where I had to be empowered and work by myself. There was no team that I worked with. And I had to do this by myself. I had no help, but I had to somehow figure it out and I had to deliver on this project. Back it up with experience, guys. Really important. And the last point, and this is a very important point that you all need to understand, focus on your career and not a job. When you're going for that interview, always think in terms of career. Where do I want this job to lead me to? Make sure that they believe you have a very clear plan for yourself. But many students today's world are looking for a job. Why? Because they want money. I want a job that pays me 70,000 rupees. And next year I want to jump to 100,000 rupees. And maybe if somebody else gives me another job at 200,000 rupees, I'll jump there as well. People are jumping for jobs, but nobody's ready to invest in a career. Now, when you invest in a career, you won't see that amazing salary in 1 year or 2 years or maybe 5 years. It is a long-term investment for yourself as well as the company. So make them believe you're ready to invest in a career, that long-term commitment. Not a job that will pay you something this year and next year you're going to jump to another job that will pay you a double salary. That has a limit. There is a boundary where you can't cross after that, right? But when you invest in your career, you're looking more long-term, guys. You're looking at, where will I be in 10 years or 5 years? And if you are ready to invest in your career, your interview will think, this person has a plan for their life. And I want to take a person like that. They're not just coming to my company for a higher salary, right? So focus on your career, guys. So these are some of the steps when it comes to the interview, guys, I want to share with you, right? So these are some common questions that you may be asked and what you need to answer as well, right? Now, what do you say when they ask you about your expected salary? They might ask you, okay, what is your expected salary? So you don't want to go too low, because if you go too low, they think this person doesn't know their own worth, right? They don't know their own worth, right? If you go too high, they're like, this person's way above what we can pay. Let's forget about this person. So what do you answer? Well, again, the science of achievement, guys. You need to do your research. If you're applying to a company or you're going for a particular company, you need to understand what are their salaries for that position, right? And then when they ask you what is your expected salary, you will talk somewhere along that bracket that you have already identified by doing your research. So I know certain, graduates say, I will only join a company for 100,000 rupees. Well, that's okay. You have that in your mind, but you need to go one step further and think, this company that's interviewing me, how much will they pay for my position, right? And ideally, the salary that you need to ask them for should be within that bracket. Because if you ask for too less, they will think this person doesn't know their worth. If you ask for too much, they'll be like, it's way beyond our salary bracket. We can't offer this person a job anyway. So do that research, find someone in the company. You can even, visit sites like glassdoor.com. Some of the big companies, that are in Sri Lanka, they will have salary structures and salaries already there. So do your research and understand what the expected salary is for that company. Then you'll know how to answer that question. Now, second question, what do I say when they ask me, do I have any more questions? Remember, guys, you only have about 15, 20 minutes. Use every single opportunity to showcase yourself. So ask a very good question when they ask you, do you have any more questions for us? Ask them about their company, about the industry, about certain challenges that they're facing. Show them that you have done the research. Use every single opportunity you have to ask question to make them believe that you are in it, that you have done the research and you know about the industry and their company. Right? So use that opportunity. Don't just say, no, I don't have any more questions. Thank you for your time. No, use these opportunities wisely. Don't ask any question. Ask a very smart question that makes them believe this person is really smart. This person asked a really good question. Right? So that's there. Do I need to ask them for any feedback? Yeah, that's a really great question. Now, one thing you could ask them is, you could tell them, listen, thank you for your time and interviewing me. If you don't mind, could you tell me some feedback? Are there any areas that you think that I can improve on? Do you think that there are any things that I can develop on, so next time I could, better myself? That shows them that you're willing to better yourself, that you're willing to take feedback, that you have a growth mindset. And that's an excellent question to ask them. Tell me if I can improve in any way. And they will believe that you have that growth mindset, that mentality, that you want to get better and better. Right? So ask that. What do I say when they ask me to describe yourself? Now, in every single interview, 100%, 99% of the time, this is a question you can be guaranteed they will ask you. They will always ask you this. Tell me a little about yourself, just to start the interview. Guaranteed. But so many students don't prepare themselves for this question. When you are guaranteed, they will ask you this question. So what is the perfect answer? Well, it's like this, right? You don't take too long. You take about 2 minutes maximum, and you don't go right from the beginning. Talk about what you're currently doing right now. Maybe certain things that you like your hobbies, and talk about certain things that you like and what you aspire to be, right? You don't have to go through your whole history here, but talk to them about a summary of yourself, which showcases your unique selling proposition as well. So if somebody at an interview, right, asks me, tell me a little about yourself, I'll be like, so I've been an HR professional for the last 20 years, mainly in HR and training and development. I am a trainer. I like to spend a lot of time inspiring people, and I do a lot of sports as well. My plan is to use whatever I have learned to add value to your company. And as a trainer, I think that I can actually help your company become the best in your particular industry, right? Very short, very simple, and to the point. What is your unique selling proposition? How has your life led you to that unique selling proposition? And how can you take that and help the company out? Very short, very simple. That is how you describe yourself. You don't have to go through all the details, because you're not here to tell a story. You're here to provide them with a summary, right? So that is there. What should I say when they ask me, why should I select me? Now, I've seen some interviewers say, why should I select you from everyone else here in the room, or everyone who's sitting outside? Now, some people are like, no, that person outside is not good. I'm better than a person. That's not the right way to answer. You should again know what is so good about you, your unique selling proposition. Say, I think, so you could answer this by saying, I think you should select me because I have all the experience that you have asked for in your advertisement, or what you're looking for. In addition, I have also gained these other skills, which I think can help myself as well as your company, because I understand that your company is looking for someone who is creative and innovative, and I can bring I can bring these skills to the table by my experiences that I had in the last couple of years, right? Showcase what is so unique about you and how you can use that uniqueness to help their company, right? Now, this all seems so simple, right? But you know what? 95% of all the students I've interviewed don't bring this to the table. Don't talk about this. They don't even talk about my industry. I asked them, why do you want to join the company? I want to join your company because I think it's a good company. I think you have a good culture, because your name is very impressive. That's it. Well, that's not enough. If one student talked about my company or my industry or some challenges that we are facing, or how they think they can add value to my company, they would have got selected. But out of 100 students, 95 will never even ask that question or even talk about it. Why? It's that simple, guys. but not many people make that breakthrough. So the last one is very important as well, right? What do I say when they ask me of my weaknesses? First and foremost, you need to understand what your weaknesses are. Many students take a long time thinking about this. They know what their strengths are, they don't know what their weaknesses are. So that implies that you're perfect. You don't have any weaknesses, which is so untrue. All of us have weaknesses, right? But the correct way to answer this is like this. Yes, I mean, we all have our weaknesses. Recognize your weaknesses and tell them, my weaknesses are my communication skills need to be improved. That is one way of answering it. But let me share a secret on how you can better that answer. We like to know what your weaknesses are, but we like more to understand what you are doing to mitigate that weakness. So if someone says, what is your weakness? You can say, my communication skills are not really great, but what I have done is I have enrolled myself in a gavel club, and every week I'm trying to make a presentation to improve my communication. And I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. You know why? Because nobody's forcing you to go to the gavel club. You are doing this by your own accord, right? Because you recognize that you have a weakness and you're doing something to get better and mitigate that weakness. That shows me that you're willing to work through your weaknesses and not just saying, I'm weak in this areas and that's it. What you're saying is, I have weaknesses, but this is what I'm doing to get better in these areas. And that is amazing, because I know when you join my company, some things you may not understand, or you may not know, or you may not have a technical ability, but you're willing to work on yourself to get better. And for me, that's amazing. So when anyone asks you, what are your weaknesses? Talk about your weaknesses, but talk about what you're doing to get better, right? So if someone will say, what is your weakness? You might say, I don't have an attention to detail. But what I am doing is I am checking my work for 2 or 3 times to make sure that there are no errors. I get someone else to look at it so that there are no errors. That shows that you understand what your weakness is. It shows self-actualization, that you can reflect on what you're weak in and what are you doing to get better, guys. That is so important. And these are simple things, guys. This is not rocket science. Everybody knows this, but nobody applies this when it comes to the interview, right? So these are some common questions that you will face at an interview, guys. So I just wanted to leave you with this, right? When you go in for an interview, there are so many small things I spoke about on how you dress, making eye contact, on your handshake, on doing some background research, on how to answer simple questions. All these small things seem very small, insignificant, but when you add each of them up, all these marginal things, when you add up, you have a killer profile when you go in for that interview. And all these things you can work on. You're having the right energy, having confidence. If you feel that you lack in any areas, study those areas. If you don't know something, tell them you don't know this, but you are trying to get better in this area, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, we are all human. We all, are human. We all know things, we don't know things. We all make mistakes. We all don't have the best profile, but we are trying to get there. And that's the most important thing, guys. And I can assure each and every one of you all, if you all build your personal brand like we spoke about in the beginning, if you consciously look to have a growth mindset, if you prepare yourself enough for your interview, if you build on your network, you will get a job at any company in the world, no doubt. How do I know? Because I was very different before. 3 years ago, I couldn't speak to people. I was not confident. I was very shy. I could never speak to a crowd of more than 20 people. I couldn't do it. But by following these steps, guys, I have no inhibitions. Now, currently, where I work right now, my team, my boss is in Australia, my team is in Canada. I work with the C-level people all over the world. Do I think they're any better than me? Well, maybe they have more experience than me. Some of my colleagues are from Harvard, from Oxford. So what? They are very well qualified. They have experience, but they don't have the same experience as me in terms of being confident in my own ability. So whenever I have calls with them, I don't get scared of them. I don't fear them because I know my own journey. And that is where you get confidence, guys. So when you go in for that interview, never think that interviewer is better than you. think, yes, they may have more experience, they may have more qualifications, but you have your own unique story and you're here to learn. You're here to get better. You're here to add value to a company. You're here to have a career. And when you go in with that attitude, guys, nothing will go wrong. And you will get a job of your dreams. I have no doubt, guys. So I wanted to share these things. I know this is not your conventional interview session, but I wanted to give you a different perspective on what you need to do to get a job of your dreams. Because I think, why do you need to settle for ordinary when all of you can be extraordinary? Right? Why do you need to settle for being ordinary when you all can have an amazing life? And that is what I wanted to share with you guys. So thank you for my time. I think we have about 10 minutes for question and answers. Thank you everyone for your time. And I just wanted to share a video with you as well. Can I share that? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure, sir.
So guys, this is a video that I play whenever I feel demotivated or uninspired. It works for me, right? I just wanted to share this with you all. Just give me a second. It's a 2-minute video, and then we can take question and answers after that. Share sound. So this video is called No Excuses, because guys, you know, it's very easy to blame a lot of people, you know, our university, you know, people around us, employers. But end of the day, guys, it's all up to us to go and grab the job that we want in our life. It's up to us to go and get it. No one's going to give us anything. No one's going to hand us anything. It's up to us to get it. And how do we get it? By working on ourselves every single day. When we work on ourselves every single day, we are preparing ourselves for that job interview. And when that time comes, we will be ready for it. We will be ready. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's when we work on ourselves every single day. And this is what I wanted to share with you guys.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Telling everybody your sad and sob stories, trying to get people to show up to your pity potties and your pity parades. If you ever see me in a Rolls Royce, a 6 or 7 star hotel, living my life to the fullest, don't get jealous of me, because I worked my ass off to get it. Nobody handed me nothing. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. It's game on. It's go season. It's time for you to take advantage of the access and the resources that you have in your country and your community. You got a problem with your life. You got a problem with your environment. Do something about it. If you want it, go get it.
Recognize the excuses are not valid. They're conjured up, they're fabricated, they're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
The fruit of everything good in life begins with a challenge. Everything is uphill that's worthwhile. And it's not going to come to you, and it's not going to fall in your lap, and it's not going to be something that, oh my God, it just was so simple. It's always going to be difficult.
If you want it, you gotta go get it.
This is your chance. This is your shot. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your place. This is your opportunity.
This is my time. This is my moment. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Ain't no such thing as tomorrow. We only got today. It's your dream. If you wanted to have it, get your butt up and make it happen. If you wanted to have it, rise and grind.
You still got work to do. Stay on that basketball court. Stay on that football field. It's grind season, homie.
Right, guys, just want to share that with y'all. So I think that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it. Up for any questions if you'll have any. Over to you,
Yeah.
Sahan.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. So, for your informative and interactive session and sharing your experiences. So, we hope our audience got the maximum out of it. So, next, let's move to the Q&A session. So, as we have concluded the presentation, it is time to clear all your doubts. So, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask any questions you have. Any questions? Or you can drop a message to the chat box. All right, till they ask the question, Mr. Mas, I am having a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this thing happened to me in my special degree program interview, right? I couldn't get selected, but it's a thing like this. So so I went there. It was a virtual interview. Then she was our department head. So she asked me, Sahan, you have got an A for this course module, right? She mentioned the course module. Then she started to ask questions from that course module, right? So truly, I didn't remember anything of that, right? Because I had learned that years ago, right?
Sure.
So it's quite unfair. Right? So my answer was, I told that, sorry, madam. Yeah, it is true that I have got an A. But what we usually do is when the exams are coming, we study and we try to keep things in mind. Then we go to exam. Then we write those things on the paper. On that paper, after writing that thing, there's nothing left in my mind, right? I truly told this in that interview, right? So I couldn't get selected, but I remember that lesson and even the page. I had an image of that page also, right? Then I told that I told that her that also, right? So she said I believe that she didn't get angry. She talked to me in a good way, but I'm afraid of telling these type of answers in my upcoming interviews because I couldn't get selected in that interview. So was my answer was okay, or I should have said something else?
Sure. So that's a really great scenario, and thank you for sharing that with me as well. So I think one good thing you did in this in the answer is you were very honest. You mentioned that you didn't know it, right? Because what happens is very often people try to lie about it and come up with an answer, and then if that's the wrong answer, then they'll be like, this person is lying. So the fact that you were very honest is really good. How you could tackle it, again, it's based on your confidence as well as how you communicate that you don't know it, right? So perhaps you could have said, yes, I remember I did cover this. At the moment, I need a bit of time just to jog my memory because I did this a couple of years ago. So I just need to refresh my memory and revisit that concept. Top of my mind, it's not coming up right now, but I understand I did it, but it's not at the top of my mind right now. So something like that, because you remember the page, you remember that you've done the subject. So I wouldn't say that, I only studied for the exam, I by-hearted for the exam, and now I don't remember. Say that I did cover it. I remember this was this topic. I need to refresh my memory because we covered a number of different topics on the syllabus. Can I get back to you with the explanation of that topic? So something like that. If you're confident in the way you say it, then they won't try to mess with you, or they won't try to, because whenever they think that they're trying to find faults in you, right? So whenever they think they have upper hand, that is where they will, they will try to look down on you, or they'll try to push you into a corner. So you don't let that happen at all. You need to be like, yes, I don't remember it right now. I know we covered it. It's not at the top of my mind. But maybe if I refresh, I can come back and I can share that example with you or share that with you. So say it confidently, but don't lie about it. Say you don't remember it top of your head. You've done it, but you need to refresh your mind because you've done a number of topics during the whole degree program that you need to get back to them. So that's something you can do. I mean, even in the corporate world right now, even at our meetings, if someone asks us a question and we don't know the answer, we won't lie and try to come up with it. What we'll say is, that's a great question. Let me think of, let me get back to you with that answer, right? Because when you lie, then your whole credibility is gone, right? So I hope that sort of answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, have we get any questions? Yeah. Yeah, there's a question, sir, from the audience.
Okay.
Sir, you mentioned that we got to follow up with our connections on LinkedIn.
Sure.
There's a lot of messages saying hi, good morning, and thanks for connecting and all that. Should we necessarily respond to all that, or is there another strategy that we could use in that case so that we could maintain a good impression?
Sure. So I think LinkedIn is social media, right? If you can get in touch with someone on LinkedIn, great, and you can form a relationship with someone, that's really good. But the problem with LinkedIn is you don't have human interaction. You don't have physical interaction with anyone. But there are certain societies where you can meet people, like Rotaract Club, like in the IT sector, we have so many different IT societies where even students can join and they can become a part of it. They can take part as volunteers in events. So those are the societies will help you get recognized in the industry, right? So even I think recently we had a SLASCOM, which is the IT body, a SLASCOM HR forum. So what I did is I had some interns who were working in my team who were also at university. So I said, why don't you guys just join this SLASCOM and help them out? Even if it's just scheduling meetings and doing some, little work, just get involved in the society so that people will know that you're available and you're there. So in a couple of months, when there was a vacancy at one of the IT companies, they were looking for a junior HR executive. They took one of my interns as a permanent cadre because they knew these people because through the society. So I know right now many people will say, I don't have time. I have so much of university of the work. I don't have time to join these societies online, Toastmasters clubs, book clubs. I don't have time. But these are the clubs and these are the investment you have to make to create a good network. Because your network will help you get a job. Even if it doesn't help you get a job, at least if you know someone in a company, you can send your CV to that person and they can at least call you for an interview. That is where you have to invest in your network, right? So LinkedIn, I know there are so many highs, right? But what I don't see is someone writing to another person saying, hi, my name is Sahan. I am a student at this university. I have, I really admire the work that you're doing. And I think you're really doing a great job. I look up to you as a mentor or something like that. That is what will get their attention. And they'll be like, thank you so much. That's really nice to hear. And they might even ask you, which department are you in? What are you following? And if you write to 5 people, if one person writes you like that back, guess what? You have a connection, right? So it's an investment, guys. Like anything else, you have to invest in your network as well. Now, every day of the week, I have like 5 days a week, I have different clubs. I have Rotary on Tuesdays. I have my book club on Thursdays. I have Toastmasters on Mondays. Do I like doing all this? I don't. I like it, but I don't love it. But I do this because I know I need the connections. Whenever I want something in the industry, when I want to find a trainer, when I want to find, a job opportunity, I can leverage on those networks. But you don't get them overnight. You have to invest in it. You have to go for the meetings, join these online sessions, because there's no other way of doing it. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, sir. Okay, then we have another question. How should I address interview panel when they questioning me?
Okay. So Again, if you don't know their company culture, if you don't know who they are, then of course you can go with the sir, madam, and then they will change you and say, no, call me by my first name. Call me Akalanka, or call me Chari. They will correct you, and then you go with their names, right? But if you're not sure, go with the sir, madam, and then you can change. I mean, for me personally, I don't address at all. So I'm like, hello, good morning, love, thank you for your time. And then you ask a question, I answer like that. And then at the end, I say, thank you so much for your time. So I don't use sir, madam or anything at all. I address them by the questions that they ask, or I address them as a panel. So it depends how you want to do it. If you're not sure, you can even use that approach, I guess. Say there's a guy who's an interviewer in front of you. I said, I'll see this person. I'll say, hi, good morning. Hello, good morning. My name is Maz. Thank you for your time. And then they'll say, please sit down. And I won't address them at all, right? Until I get some indication and I read them and I know how they want to be addressed. So there are a couple of ways of doing that as well. If you're not sure, go with the sir or madam. But if you're comfortable enough going without saying sir or madam, that's okay as well.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. And I'm asking this question from you because you at the beginning we were talking about personal branding and the things. Because I think there are people who are passionate in something, but their professional qualifications are in another field.
Okay.
So people like that, what they should do actually? I mean,
okay.
How do they brand themselves?
So that's a really great question, right? So let's talk about the word passion, right? What is passion? Now, if you like something, you really love something, but you don't have the skills for it, right? You don't have the skills, right? Say I love painting, right? But I can't paint anything. I'm a useless painter. I don't have any skill. Then it's a hobby, right? When you like something, but you don't have the skill, it's a hobby. Now, if you hate something, right? But you have the skills, then maybe it's a job, right? I am a good accountant. I have all the accounting qualifications, CIMA, CIM, chartered, everything. But I don't like accounts, but I have to do it every day to earn money, then it's a job. But if I have the skills, and I have a liking to something, that is where you find your passion, right? You really I love photography, and I have the qualifications to back it up. That is where you can pursue your passion. And chances are you will find happiness and you will be very successful because you have both together. And that is where you find passion. Now, there's one more thing, right? When you take your passion and give it to the world, that is where you find your purpose in life, or your purpose, right? So if I'm a trainer right now, I love training and I have all the qualifications. That is my passion. And by following my passion, I find my happiness. But when I take my passion and help students and people around me to become better, that is where I find my purpose. And if my passion gave me happiness, my purpose gives me fulfillment, right? So my answer to your question is, if you like something but you don't have the skills, chances are it'll be a hobby for you most of the time until you get those skills. Once you get the skills, it'll become your passion because you have both. But until you get the skills, it'll just be nothing more than a hobby. And that's what I want to share with you. Yes. Hope that made sense.
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much. So I think that's all about our Q&A session. So thank you very much, dear participants, for interacting, and sir, you. So as this is our last session of Business School 2022, so there's a small request from our OC president to take a photo and make a memory of this wonderful evening. So I request all of you to turn on your cameras and show your lovely faces. So Let's see how many of you are there. So is that all? Okay then. Here we go then. We'll give a count. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right. Thank you, everyone. So, okay then. Thank you, everyone. So, as we have come to the end of today's session, to give the session and the business school a nice ending, I'm going to invite a nice person who is our organizing committee head, and most probably the most overthinking and the most responsible of the head I've ever seen. So it's none other than Sahan Pushpika Pritikala. So over to you, Sahan.
Thank you, Sahan. Good evening, everyone. Actually, I am honored to have this opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this special event. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Mas Savangar, Global Manager, Training and Development at iTunes, for providing us with this knowledge and for finding time in between your busy schedules. And I hope our audience grab the maximum out of it. Thank you very much, sir, for this interesting session. Then, I am thankful to all the enthusiastic participants for your presence here today, because without you, this session won't be successful. Moreover, my heartfelt thanks to all the members of my organizing committee for helping to organize this valuable session. Well done, guys. You all deserve it. Also, I would like to take this moment to appreciate the tremendous support of our executive board for the guidance you provide us through thick and thin. Finally, to all the members of LED KLN and everyone else behind throughout the Business School 2022, I thank you all. And we hope you all got the self-confidence that you need to prepare for upcoming interview sessions. And you all submit your CVs to select for the forthcoming interviews. We know it won't be easy, but we also know you are up to the challenge. So, best of luck. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Sahan. So hereby we end the session series of the biggest event of the year, Business School 2022. So thank you very much, everyone, for being with us throughout the journey from the beginning, and we are forever grateful. Hope to see you all in the third phase of Business School, the interviews. Till then, have a good night. Stay safe.